This year, the government will have to borrow £178 billion. Yesterday, one of the largest holders of government debt warned that British debt is likely to be downgraded. The OECD, the CBI and the Bank of England have all warned there is no proper plan to deal with this deficit. Why does the Prime Minister think that all these people take that view?
First of all, Mr. Speaker, let us put this in context. That the debt of every country has risen as a result of a global financial recession. And debt in Britain is actually lower as a percentage of national income than America, it's lower than France and Germany, it's lower than Italy and Japan, it's lower than the average for the euro area. So every country faces the difficulty of taking its country out of recession while at the same time having to develop a deficit reduction plan. I tell him, first of all, we will not stop the fiscal stimulus before we are out of recession. And we will not take his advice and leave the economy without the support that is necessary. And if we had taken his advice, many thousands more would be unemployed and many thousand businesses would be lost. But what we have published is a deficit reduction plan. Now let me yes, it includes raising the top rate of tax. I assume he now supports that. It raises national insurance so that we can fund our health and public services. I assume that he has got to consider that as well. It does not include cutting inheritance tax and costing £1.5 billion for the 3,000 richest families in the country. It includes cuts in some of the major departments, but it includes defending the frontline services of health, of education and policing. And I must say, Mr. Speaker, for him to ask me questions about public spending this week, when he said it was the year of change, he changed his policy in the morning, he changed his policy in the afternoon, and he changed his policy in the evening.
The Prime Minister talks about the context. The context is the biggest budget deficit of any advanced economy in the world. Let us be clear about what these people say about the government's plans. The CBI say the government's plans are too little, too late. The Governor of the Bank of England says there is no credible plan. The OECD say more ambitious plans would strengthen the recovery. Howard Davis, the man the Prime Minister appointed as the head of the Financial Services Authority, said this: the loss of confidence in the government's ability to get the public finances back under control is the major risk facing this country. And he said that after the utterly feeble pre-budget report. So let me ask him again, why does he think all of these people think his plans are so feeble?
Mr. Speaker, the Governor of the Bank of England, the very significant policy actions taken in recent months will stimulate a recovery in demand, output and employment. The IMF, the UK has shown a lot of leadership. The UK... That is the Managing Director of the IMF. The UK authorities' policy response to the deep recession has been bold and wide-ranging. The aggressive actions by the authorities have been successful in containing the crisis and averting a systemic breakdown. I could go through the OECD, the fiscal stimulus has cushioned the downturn. Mr. Speaker, it comes down to this. If we had taken his advice, there would be no action and unemployment would have risen much faster. If we had taken his advice, the 200,000 small businesses that have benefited would not have benefited. If we had taken his advice, we'd be back to the 90s mortgage misery with repossession. Every decision on recession and recovery, that party got wrong.